Evening again. Wanted to give a little bit of advice and shamelessly, not shamelessly because they're not giving them to me for free, shamelessly advertise a couple of products that I've been really impressed with. As I said in one of the other videos that I've put on recently, our bus is old. It's 1972, and it's a timber coach built body on the back of it. It's basically Daimler-Benz put a caravan on it when it came out of the factory, and as a result it's nearly 50 years old. And when I bought it just over 12 months ago now, it wasn't in bad condition at all for its age, but as you'd expect, the roof wasn't as waterproof as it could be, and in the usual areas around the skylights, not bad. Had leaked before you could see it had leaked. There was water marks on the ceiling, so tore the inner liner off to check the timbers to make sure everything was still solid. If it wasn't solid, cut it out, replaced it, insulated it, sealed it, blah blah blah, put a new liner up. And it's always difficult. I don't have anywhere I can work on my truck inside, so living in Britain like we do, you can never guarantee the weather. And having bought the truck in October, luckily I had a friend of mine do the bodywork and some of the paintwork on the cab, and it was in his yard from middle of November, December onwards. So it spent last year, which was very cold, and we had a lot of snow last year, early, and then latter, January, February time, and it avoided most of that by being in his spray shop, which was bonus round. Obviously once it had come out and the weather warmed up, we got to work, my wife and I, painting it and sealing it and sorting it out. Now, as you can imagine, it's an old caravan on the outside. It looks like an old caravan on the outside. On the back end has a lot of aluminium trim, gutters between the tin to overlap to create a moisture barrier, a seal. Some of those had gone a bit gnarly. The majority of it was in incredible condition for its age. Really incredible. Again, main areas, joints on the roof, joints around the skylights, and on the back end and front end, so where the water will run. The side walls, unless the rain's coming in at 45 degrees, I don't think you need to worry too much. I have resealed it all and been through it, but the front was bad. We had a long window in the front, as there's a double bed above the cab, like an awful lot of camper vans. Couldn't get that right size window. The window was no good, the seal was no good. With the weather on it for the last 40 years, 50 years nearly, even, it hadn't done well. So made a nice alley plate up to go in its place, sealed it all in, rebuilt all the stud work on the inside at the front, and insulated it, blah 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 blah. Recently had to do the same with the rear, which you probably can't see very well, but you'll see it's just tacked. So it's at the moment I haven't lined it, and I have left the original window in because I like to leave as much of it original as I possibly can. Two products which I have found exceptionally useful and brilliant, really worth the money. Not particularly cheap products, but excellent. First one is this one. Surprise, surprise, it's made by the Germans. Dichtfix, and it is designed for caravans and boats and roofs. It's basically kind of a fiberglass resin with the fibre built into it, but instead of having to trowel it on like a lot of those things, you can brush it on. You can use a paintbrush, which is how I've put it on. It goes tacky very quickly, so you can give a nice thick coat and then you can give another nice thick coat almost straight away. As you can see, it's quite a small tin. I haven't found any bigger tins than this, and off the top of my head I can't remember what I paid for a tin. I think it's about 14-15 quid for a tin like that, which is expensive, I'll grant you. excellent stuff. You can put it on wet, as in the roof can be wet, the surface you are applying it to can be wet, and it still grips like shit to a blanket, and pushes the moisture out and seals. Did all the skylights with it, did some of the seams with it on the edges, especially where the truck sits on my drive. It sits slightly one-sided, so the water always runs off one edge, so, you know, gunnelled that full of it. Brilliant gear. Touch wood. Not had a problem since, and it's done some raining as well since. Superb. Second product is that, which is Seeker. Now I know Seeker because Seeker make additives for concrete, air entrainer, waterproofer, all manner of stuff for flow and fill in concrete. Let's not get into concrete. Anyway, excellent gear. They all have a number on them, depending on what type of sealant they are. And if you spoke to Seeker, they would tell you exactly what to use and where. This will not go on a wet surface properly unless you're pinching something. They do another one which I have used as well, which is got a picture of a boat on it, and basically it's the marine grade version, and that is uber expensive. But for argument's sake, if you are putting a window in, it's worth the money. If you're cutting a fresh hole, or like me, if you're taking a window out and putting it back in, it's excellent for bedding in. So if you've got an imperfect joint, which a lot of these are, and a lot of old caravans were, a lot of old trucks were, they weren't particularly well fitted into the bodywork of the truck, and that is really, really good stuff. I'm a bit of a sucker for windows. If I'm putting windows in a truck, they need to be good ones. Or I've changed a lot of the ones in here because they were original and didn't open. So we put Sites Dometic ones in. Overpriced, yes, massively overpriced, don't get me wrong. They're not worth what they charge for them, but I still think of all the ones we've put in, they're the best of a fairly unimpressive lot. And the built-in blinds are, again, saves a lot of grief. You know, curtains look great. We've got curtains in here. The only real reason I've got curtains in here and kept them is because it's kind of its era. It would have had, you know, proper curtains, so we've put them back in. But they have got the blackout blinds on all the windows as well, or the ones that aren't original. So yeah, Seeker and Dish Fix, and that especially, I really would recommend. I got it off eBay, same as I get most of the parts for the truck off eBay. Well worth the 15 quid a tin, and it goes further than you think it would. You don't need oodles of it, you don't need to gallop it on, you know. You can put a couple of, you know, decent coats but sensible coats on, and it does the job, and it's able to flex. So again, if you own an older truck, there's always going to be movement in the body to a degree. It flexes with the truck, it doesn't break. That's about it really. Just wanted to share that with you. No one wants to get damp in the truck. There's nothing worse, is there? We've been away, we go away and use ours in the winter. You don't need to be waking up to a puddle on the floor. It's trashing your truck. It's true, you've made a nice job of the inside of it. You don't want to be ripping it out and starting again. So, recommendations. Thank you very much.